the show?
Sure.
You guys, we want to gather around?
You guys joining us here?
I'm just going out to take a picture.
All right.
But I'll be over here to join.
All right. Good afternoon, everybody. We're gathered here today to discuss the CDBG Disaster Recovery Private Sewer Repair Program, a $43 million sewer infrastructure improvement program funded with HUD Disaster Recovery grant dollars. Before I turn it over to our mayor, Mike Duggan, I would like to thank HUD, specifically Mike Polsinelli, the Detroit Field Office Director who could not be here today, our HRD Director, Julie Snyder, the Private Sewer Repair Program team under the leadership of Andrew Gaines, our partners every step of the way at the Detroit Water and Sewage Department, the Detroit Housing Network, and City Council for approving the appropriation of these disaster recovery dollars. Without further ado, Mayor Mike Duggan.
All right. Well, I want to thank the Warrens for inviting us to their home, and I was really glad when I showed up to hear how pleased they were with the work that DWSD did, because if they hadn't been, this press conference would have gone a different way. This is what the Biden-Harris administration means to the city of Detroit. $43 million to help our residents prevent sewage backup into their basements. We all remember what June of 2021 was like. We got 6 inches of rain in 12 hours, the most in that time in our history, a so-called once in 500-year flood. But of course, we had another one in 2014. They're coming more often with climate change. And in this city, with our combined system, what that means is when you have huge rainstorms, at that level, the water fills our storm sewers and pushes the sewage back up into basements. Detroiters know this. And what Gary Brown and the water department have done across the city has been great. We've upgraded the pump stations, we've cleaned out sewer lines, we've added capacity. But we have a lot of residents who have sewage back up in their basement even when it's a small rainstorm. And the reason is that the sewer line going from their house to their backyard is cracked. And that means it doesn't matter how much Gary Brown builds the overall system. If the sewage doesn't get through your backyard, you're in trouble. And in the low-lying areas of the city where the water runs, we know we've got 22 areas of the city that are prone to these backups. And we have folks who are not high-income people who don't have the resources to spend several $1,000s to fix that lateral sewer line, which means this year, next year, 5 years from now, 10 years from now, anytime there's any kind of significant rain, they're going to be dealing with sewage backup. But because of this $43 million grant, we've been able to take 22 areas of the city that have been the most flood prone and identified 1,500 houses where we are going into the backyards. We're replacing that sewer line, and in many cases, we're fixing the city sewer back in the alley that it connects to. So 1,500 families are going to be secure in the next rainstorm. And we've done this with the complete support of City Council from that day in June 2021, every day since, on what we can do to improve them. And with that, I want to introduce, we got a good number of the members of City Council here to highlight their well-deserved role in this. And let me introduce now Council President Mary Sheffield.
Thank you. All right. Thank you, everyone, and good afternoon. It is always a great day to be in our neighborhoods and to have a significant investment in water infrastructure right here in the neighborhood. I want to start off by thanking Mayor Duggan for his hard work on this issue, as well as Director Brown, who has several water infrastructure projects throughout this city to address this issue, along with the housing department, our federal partners, and of course, my colleagues here at the City Council who have always raised this issue of how we improve infrastructure throughout our neighborhoods. Let me say that it has been devastating and at times very frustrating to see the water infrastructure issues that so many of our residents face in their homes throughout the city of Detroit. As council, we often take the calls. We see the emails and the pictures, and some of us even go out to our residents' homes and can see the conditions that our residents are living in when it comes to basement backup, sewage in their homes, mold, etc. And so we are at a point today with this program that we can actually address the deep-rooted infrastructure issues that have plagued our neighborhood for years. So this is a big step in the right direction. 3 years after that major storm, people are still dealing with the aftermath. They really are. The fear of another storm coming. Oftentimes we heard from residents who did not qualify for FEMA, and they were told that they had to make costly repairs on their own. So this is a huge step to really improve the quality of life for residents in the city of Detroit. Wanted to really quickly state that I know that this is only for districts 4, 6, and 7, but District 5 was hit very hard. And I want to advocate and lift up those residents who may not be included in this program, just to let you know that we hear you, that we are advocating for you, and that we hope that this program can expand and reach more people. But today, we are celebrating the 1,500 homes, residents whose quality of life will be improved. Doesn't matter where they stay. What matters is that they're going to get the help, much needed help, for safety and security and stability that is long overdue, and allowing them to live without fear of the next storm. So I want to thank everyone, my colleagues, and now I have the privilege of introducing a huge advocate for infrastructure, everything water related and more, your council member for District 4, Councilmember Letitia Johnson.
Thank you, Council President Sheffield. This is a full circle moment for me. So we talk about 2021 and what devastated District 4. At the time, I was campaigning, and I remember thinking there is absolutely no way I can continue going, knocking on doors, asking for support, knowing that so many people had dealt with a backup in their basement. So I came off the campaign trail and went to help neighbors pull items out of their basement because those were things that couldn't be salvaged. Now, one of the things that I recognize is District 4 was horribly devastated in 2021. Easily 70 to 75% of our residents had a backup. And so that's why we're here today. We're here today because residents in District 4 have dealt with this on numerous occasions. Such vast devastation throughout the district said to me that once I get elected, my #1 priority had to be addressing water infrastructure. And so I want to say thank you to Mayor Duggan. Thank you to Director Gary Brown, because there was a program that preceded this one that helped us to kickstart doing the work. And also a very special thank you to the Housing and Revitalization Department, to HUD, to HUD for recognizing the amount of devastation that we had in the district and throughout the city of Detroit, to say, you know what, our infrastructure is aged. Our private infrastructure, our public infrastructure, and this was an opportunity to provide support to our residents whose private infrastructure was failing. Because most of the time we know if we don't see it, we don't know to address it. But here is a program that will address a multitude of things within our residents' homes that helps to harden their home, because our homes are our greatest asset. And that's how we build wealth. So to say that we're coming in to help our neighbors, it's extremely prideful for me, but I want to ask everyone who hears this message today, if you are in one of the 22 neighborhoods, please take a moment to sign up for the program. If you applied for a previous program and you have not gotten services yet, and you qualify for the private sewer repair program, please sign up. We have locations in District 4, and I'm sure in other districts, where Community organizations, along with the Housing and Revitalization Department, will help assist in the application process. But please don't walk away saying, I've applied for too many different programs and I have not gotten the assistance, because our team has continually shared information about this program. And while I'm glad the Warrens have taken advantage of it, not enough of us in District 4 have actually signed up for it, recognizing the devastation that we've seen. I'd rather have you sign up, take the time to sign up for the program instead of continuing to have the issue. These are dollars that will make a tremendous impact for your individual property, and now is the time to get signed up. HRD knows that I've been trying to get District 4 residents signed up so they can be at the head of the line. And we've already started doing the work. So there are numbers of applications that are still being accepted. So I want to implore you to get signed up today. And I'm sure there's vast information on the city's website that can direct you. I know that USnapBag in District 4 provides assistance with intake on Wednesdays, I believe at 1 o'clock. But I need for you all to sign up, because I'd rather have you sign up and benefit from the program than to continue to have the backups and reaching out to our office wondering where the support is. So we're here to announce that the support is here. We just got to get you signed up. And so I do know and recognize that one of my other colleagues in their district has suffered from these backups for a number of years as well. And so we collectively fight to make sure that we continue to address this issue. Before I bring up my colleague, I do want to say this is a great start for us. It's a start. We have additional work that needs to be done, and especially in District 4, we still have a community that sits in a floodplain. So that is something that we need to work on so that our residents are not continuing to incur additional insurance costs to be able to live in their homes. Now with that, I'd like to introduce my colleague, Councilmember Fred Durhall from District 7.
Thank you, Member Johnson, who has been just a tireless advocate for fixing our broken infrastructure, particularly as it pertains to water here in the city of Detroit. Thank you to Mayor Duggan as well as Director Brown, HRD, for their leadership in pushing this forward. My story is similar to Member Johnson's. I remember knocking doors in 2021 during that time in June. And I remember talking to a resident in District 7, and she invited me into her home to see what the devastation was. So we walk into the home, beautiful upstairs, and then we go down the steps. And she showed me a basement that was finished, that was a beautiful basement, but the flooding had destroyed her basement. And the water was at least 3 feet high. And I remember her saying, one of the most devastating parts about the flood was not just her losing her finished basement, but items that could never be replaced, such as old pictures, such as her graduation certificates, such as old memoirs and things of that nature. And so that was a flood that really devastated the core of our residents. We're talking over 30,000 residents during that year that were affected by the flooding. And so I remember being elected to office, and one of the first press conferences I came to was with Mayor Duggan as well as Director Brown and the director of the EPA when we started the Basement Backup Protection Program, which went well, helped folks a lot. But again, under Director Brown's leadership, and he knows because we get tons of calls, folks wanted to know, how are we going to fix private sewer lines relative to our neighborhoods and to stop the issues that continue to plague us here in the city of Detroit. And so once again, one of our greatest partners, the Biden-Harris administration, stepped up, put $43 million into what you're seeing today that will help address these issues, not just in District 4, not just in District 6, but District 7 as well. Those are 3 of the districts that were hit hardest during the flooding when we talk about the majority of our residents. There are other residents in other districts throughout the city that do face those same issues, but today is a start. Today is taking a start to improving our broken infrastructure here in the city of Detroit. And so I'm glad to stand here today as we make this tremendous start to move forward, fix our broken infrastructure, and help our residents with the assistance that they truly need. Some folks got FEMA funding, but they didn't know, how am I going to fix a lot of the private lines that we have? And today, this program is indicative of something that will help them tremendously. So again, thank you, and shout out to the Biden-Harris administration for putting that funding forward. And with that, I will turn it back over to Mr. Rico Razzo, or actually, I'm sorry, pardon me. I didn't know Rico was introducing. I would like to introduce, and no pun intended, one of the greatest advocates relative to water infrastructure. My friend who has just been a champion, and we love her dearly for it, Councilmember Mary Waters at large.
Thank you so much, Member Durhall. Boy, you know, my colleagues has actually said it all. But let me just start by saying thank you so much to the Biden administration, first and foremost, for making sure that we get those dollars. We do want to ask for more, but we do appreciate it because this is a great start. Mayor Duggan, thank you as always. And it's an honor to be able to work with a city who knows how to go after those federal resources, because you know how to get it done. Thank you so much. And as I listen to my colleagues tell various stories about some of the things that's been happening with our residents, I'm reminded of one, a senior citizen who was at her home. She had been there since 2021, the initial flood. And we kept trying to find a way. And Director Brown, you know that I bug you all the time. Well, what can we do? What can we do? You know, and I'm so happy that we got to this point. And I want to thank you for all of your hard work as well. And so finally, Member Johnson, you might recall, we kept trying to get help for this senior. So finally, we got somebody that managed to go over there to get the water from the basement, to remove all of that water, because in fact, that water had been standing for 2 years. And her stairs were completely gone. And so she thought she would be able to live there after all the water was removed. But guess what? DTE went in there and they said, I'm sorry, we can't do this. You seem to have mold here. It's too much mold. And so we're going to have to, we can't replace your furnace or your hot water heater. Then we talked to somebody else, and we sent a guy over there who was able to, he called back and he says, Ms. Waters, there's toxic mold. We need to relocate her. And so I picked up the phone and I called her, because, you know, oftentimes seniors get very comfortable where they live. They don't like to move. And I talked to her and I said, you know, there's toxic mold and it's dangerous to your health. We need to relocate you. And guess what? Called up the housing, David Bowser. I don't see him here today, but I said, David, we need to find a new location for this senior citizen. And guess what? He made that happen. We got her out of that danger. And those are the kinds of things that make you feel so good about this job. You're able to make positive things happen for those that you represent. And so this program is going to help to improve the quality of lives for people. It is going to certainly help make sure that our housing stock is improved. It can do so many things. And guess what else? The environment. Yes, because things keep changing throughout the world. You all know, floodplains everywhere, all of those things that have happened to us throughout this country and throughout this world. We've got to continue to work together, and I'm so happy to stand here today. I just want to echo everything that my colleagues have said. There's no need for me to repeat any of that, but I just want to say thank you for the working relationship that we have, and I'm so very grateful to an administration and a mayor. I'm telling you, he'll run over you to make some things happen, and I'm so happy because of that, because our people really, really need the help and the support. Thank you all so much.
Thank you, council members. Next, we want to bring up a gentleman whose name has probably been mentioned about a dozen times today, Director of the Water Department, Gary Brown.
Thank you, Rico. And I'd be remiss if I didn't also thank President Biden and Vice President Harris for sending the money to Detroit, the mayor and the city council for making sure that the $43 million got into the hands of DWSD to get this work done, or we wouldn't be able to do it, obviously. I heard several times that this is a great start, but we've done this 700 times in the city of Detroit, more than 700 times, and we actually are pretty good at doing it. We've learned a lot along the way. The first iteration of the basement backup program only allowed us, the scope of work only allowed us to work inside of someone's home. So we had to tear out their basement floor in order to put the backwater valve in. And we learned that our customers would rather we do that on the outside. And so we adapted and changed. So now we give them the option of doing it in the basement or doing it outside. As we started to camera the line to make sure that it was connected to the sewer and not broken, we found out that 40% of the lines that we put a camera into had a severed line or was not connected to the sewer. So the sewage was going into a void in the ground. And the customers didn't really have the dollars available to make that repair. So we adapted, and we changed the program to be able to do the lateral sewer line replacement or repair. So in a city like Windsor, they have a similar program, but they make the homeowner go find a plumber, a licensed plumber. They make the homeowner go negotiate a price. They make the homeowner pay for the services before the city will reimburse them. That's not what happens in Detroit. In Detroit, DWSD is their owner representative. We bring a building inspector in to determine what work needs to be done. We negotiate the price and the services to be done, and then we inspect it to make sure it's done right, and we make sure that they get a warranty in case something goes wrong. And again, we've done this more than 700 times. I'm certainly happy that we can continue and do it another 1,500 times, and hopefully we'll be looking for dollars to extend the program to make sure we get every council district in the city of Detroit. We're working really hard to do that, but this is what we're doing today with the money we have. And so, again, I want to thank everyone that has been involved in making sure that we had the dollars in order to keep this program going. With that said, if Rico, if I could introduce our guest of honor, Miss Cecilia Warren.
Hi, everyone. I'm Cecily Warren, and we are the homeowners here. This is my husband, Raymond Warren, that's sitting on the porch, so thanks for waving at him. I am so happy that I applied for this program because, of course, we could not afford to do any of this, the sewage drainage program. I'm glad I seen it online, and I'm glad that you snapped back, called me, and I came in, and the application process is very simple. You get through it very quickly, so it's very important that you go forward and do such thing. Also, I just want to say a shout out to my neighborhood. My neighborhood, I love it. I've been a City of Detroit resident over 20, we've been our home over 20 years. To combine, me and my husband has lived in the city of Detroit for over 100 years because my husband is 80 years old, and, I'm up there too, so combined. So we won't live anywhere else. We may get us a winter home because, the winter's here. You guys know. But as far as residents, no, we won't move anywhere else. And so I am so happy that this program came along because we did face those horrifying issues, and, you still have some issues today. However, for the city of Detroit, for the mayor and the council people to take that into consideration and really do things to really help us out, because, of course, we're talking about thousands of dollars to fix its plumbing and backwater valves and dig up your basement and your yard hard. And now those are thousands of dollars. And we are seniors, so there was no way things on the inside of our home would take precedence over the things on the outside. And because we are longtime residents, forever residents, we want to upkeep our home. And as you can see, our neighbors upkeep their homes too. So we need our infrastructure and our homes to be up to par as well. So I'm just saying that I am just grateful. Thank you all for coming out today, making us feel like we're movie stars. Thank you, Mayor Duggan, and all of your staff. I'm just pleased, and I'm happy, and I'm pleased with the work that has been done. And if you guys want to take a look, you can always take pictures of it so that you can show everybody. And please, people in our districts that they are working on now, apply. The money's there. I mean, it's there. If we don't get the money, then they're going to think we don't need it. So, and we do. Remember now, we're trying to get more money so that other neighborhoods can also get this program in their neighborhood. So people, please apply. It's real and it works. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Warren. And I just, again, want to give a big shout out to the private sewer repair program team over here. If you guys see the five people standing over here, they make all of this possible in terms of intake, applications, approval, and coordinating with DWSD to get the work done. So before we open it up to a few questions, I just want to give some instructions on how to apply to the program. So as I mentioned, the Detroit Housing Network Helpline is the number to call to get an application into the program. That can be reached at 866-313-2520, and you'll press prompt option number 3. Our website, detroitmi.gov/disaster recovery, and select private sewer repair, or you can email us directly at psrp@detroitmi.gov. And with that, we'll take some questions. Anyone want to take?
Yeah, in Jeff Chalmers, some of the dollars that were allocated, the homeowners have to have flood insurance, and most don't. It's unaffordable for them. And so we had to use dollars in which we could go into neighborhoods that don't require flood insurance. Any other questions?
I know a lot of this is technical, but Jefferson Chalmers' risk is not sewage backup. Jefferson Chalmers' risk is the river overflowing when the Great Lakes water levels rise. And so FEMA has placed it in a floodplain, which made it possible. But the 22 areas of the city that we're talking about are low-lying areas where they're at risk of basement backup every rainstorm. And certainly the major rainstorms, we've seen it, but on smaller rainstorms, we haven't. So we went where the money could be used on a federal eligibility basis. Anything else? All right, I'm going to go see Gary's work. Come on.